All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking Auburn football. Go ahead and subscribe to Vernon Speaks for us. Auburn versus South Carolina recap. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. Just doing a real quick CarCast post Auburn versus South Carolina game. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger War Eagle. For 3 consecutive weeks, Auburn has had a tough showing in the second half that did not stop against South Carolina. After getting off to the fast start, the Auburn Tigers continues their offensive struggle in a very tough loss on the road to a very inspired South Carolina team. And I just want to give a message to the Auburn football fan base that, we've been accustomed outside of Gene Chizik and Tommy Tuberville, but Gus Malzahn comes in as a brand new head coach and gives the miracle season, gives the, national championship appearance in the first year. But this is not how this is going to play out this time. Auburn has played a tough schedule. This is not to excuse some of the decision making from leadership. I thought Brian Harsin and his staff really put the players in some levels of adverse positions, but they still had opportunities. And that's why we can't overly blame one scenario. We have to look at the idea that this is a team still in development mode, 6-5 at the moment. Definitely not what we expected from this squad, especially with what they were able to partake of from the transfer portal. But you talk about a brutal schedule where half the teams they played were ranked, and losing your starting quarterback, Bo Nix. TJ Finley was expected to, play a good football game. He didn't do absolutely terrible, but some costly situations down the stretch really made it hard for the Tigers to recover and actually win this football game that they so needed to win after the skid, because you're looking at a situation where Auburn wins 6 football games and could possibly drop the last 4, and that may be a very unfortunate, and it will be a very unfortunate situation to the Auburn Tigers down the stretch. But we gotta look at the bright side. One thing is Tank Bigsby is on his way to a 1,000-yard year. That will be the first time that an Auburn running back has done that since Kerryon Johnson. These guys continue to play hard. They continue to do things to put themselves in positions to win football games. And, outside of whatever we feel, because the game can be just as emotional as it is physical. Outside of how we feel, those kids play hard. And they really put themselves on the line, and they continue to give themselves opportunities to win that game. And it's just heartbreaking, even with the Jalen Simpson situation with the fumble at the end of the football game. It was very close. I was actually a little on the nervous side because I thought he was just too close to the ball. I think that's a tough call to make, especially given the situation. But when you're a player, you can't control that. You're down there, you're trying to do what you need to do, and that's something that has really plagued the Auburn Tigers is penalties on special teams. That's something that definitely down the stretch needs to be fixed, because how many really good field position situations could Auburn have had if not for penalty? I mean, the special teams had a hard time this year. You get a nice return and you just already know that it's about to be called back because of a miscue on special teams. Second week in a row, Auburn kicks a field goal and missed. You kick that field goal, you're only down by 1 point. Takes a little bit of pressure off you. Now, a lot of fans are going to go back and they're going to point to the 4th down call with Brian Harsin. I really think that was a crucial call, but at the same time, the game was still tied at that point. It's not like Auburn was up 21-3 and they came back. I still think it was I don't think it was a bad call. I don't think the decision to go for it on fourth down was particularly horrible, but I absolutely was in disagreement with the play call decision. And I'm pretty sure when you're a coach, you see something that could be open, you can catch these guys off guard, especially if they have the intuition that you're going to run the football. But if you're going to do it, do it in a very high percentage kind of way. You know, you can't put your team in a position to where, you know, that the pass was just not a high percentage pass. Like I said before, you know, a really disappointing loss, but we have to continue to put things in perspective as to where Auburn is right now. This is not a bad football team. You know, arguably one of the more challenging schedules in the country. They've had opportunities in every single game that was played this year. And it's just so unfortunate that, you know, in the second half, and I knew it. I posted in the group. When all the stuff started to unravel, Auburn gets up 14-0. What we do, we have a trend now. And I think all of you guys see it. We have a trend, whether we get up or not. Between the middle of the second quarter and the middle of the third, that's when things start to unravel for the Tigers. And those are the most crucial points of the football game. Congratulations to South Carolina. Coach Beamer has really put this team from a perceptual position to have some, you know, memorable moments down the stretch. They fought hard. They won some key games. Big shout out to Tank Bigsby with an excellent football game. He's pushing towards 1,000 yards. And those are the things that we have to gain or take away from football games like this. Both teams fighting to, you know, Auburn fighting for a better bowl, South Carolina fighting to get into a bowl, and Auburn has the big game against Alabama next week with another opportunity to play SEC football. And I think the fan base needs to continue to get behind these guys. These guys are fighting hard. They're playing with a lot of players that, you know, normally are there. Owen Papple is still not in the game. You see him on the sidelines. Bo Nix obviously not in that game tonight, and we're seeing the effects of experience. I'm not a Bo Nix versus TJ Finley. I'm not pushing that card. You can't discount though the experience, and you know, I think the guys put it out on the line, gave themselves some opportunities to win the football game. Hats off to the coaching staff, although some decisions that were made that I don't necessarily agree with. But you got to keep pushing. This is a first-year head coach, a first-year staff. Yes, we want the result fast, but unfortunately, it now we can see the realism of what it takes to build a football program. You know, I remember my senior year of high school, and I look at how bad we got beat up my senior year, and had some opportunities to win some games, but couldn't pull it off. I graduated. I come back. Those same guys that fought and clawed and got all that experience, the following year, they actually made it to the fourth round in Alabama of the playoffs, which is a game right before the state championship game. I can't remember back in 1999 whether high schools were in the Final Four or what. I can't remember for sure. But that team definitely, and they had an opportunity. Notasoga played Brantley. Should have won that game, actually. Those guys, they grew up from those experiences. They started a gel. Auburn actually has a lot of guys that will be coming back, a lot of guys that they will recruit. They were actually out without Kobe Hudson tonight. Very unfortunate loss to South Carolina. Auburn drops it, heads into the Iron Bowl at home with a 6-5 record. Unfortunate loss for the Tigers, but that's SEC football for you. Let's go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.